Yeah, you know that sound. You know it. I'm the originator. That's the inception sound. That's the sound of the 60 Frames No Lag podcast. And I'm your host, Porter Rock 77. Thank you for joining. For those who join, if you listen to this as a recorded podcast, I appreciate taking the time out of your day. How is everyone doing on this fine Wednesday evening? First off, I want to apologize for the late start. I know I said so 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're pretty much over an hour delay. Got off of work late, and then little technical difficulties. No excuses. I just want to apologize up front. I think it's unprofessional and stuff like that. I really try to keep it timely. I adjusted my schedule. Obviously, football season, NFL. Let's be real. Everybody's enjoying, going to Buffalo Wild Wings or just going wherever you want to go and just spend time for your friends and all that stuff. And I don't want to take that, or I don't want to compete with that. Not that I'm actually competing, because, this podcast is not that big. But anyway, got to watch my Giants. They're 2-0. They're doing good. But my New York Yankees, not so much, But it is what it is. But thank you so much. You know what I'm saying? You know that sound. That sound belongs to this podcast. Don't let no one fool you. That's the 60 Frames No Lag podcast. It's been a while. Oh, I'm excited. It's been a while since I talked to you. But good things going on and stuff like that. But I want to talk about some things just to catch up. You see the title, how Sony could compete with the, in the age of Scorpio. But first, let's talk about some good things. Let's talk about August NPD. A little bit late to the party on that, but recently, well, not so much recently, but Xbox One S, thanks to the power Xbox One S, it outsold PlayStation 4 by 100K, which is a significant amount of consoles. I know in July, Xbox One outsold PlayStation, but it was about 10K. That's borderline, but still good trending. But now you see that trend has risen up to 100K, which is really good numbers. That's excellent numbers. So you see, Microsoft is definitely on a positive uptake. You could say Xbox One S is like a facelift, and it's working. So we're going to see how September NPT is going to be real interesting, because you saw the reaction. Xbox One S was very popular, especially the first 2 weeks when it came out. Everybody was getting it. It's a great facelift. 4K Blu-ray player, 4K upscaling, and the HDR, great package. $290, and now it's $299 and stuff. Sony's, I admit, I'm a Sony dude, but I don't think they really did a good answer back to that with the PlayStation Slim. They kept it too basic. I mean, I understand the point of the Slim, but at $299, it doesn't make much sense. If it was $249, okay, it makes sense. Sony just wants a cheaper, more affordable console. I get that. But at $299 compared to a $299 Xbox One S, it's going to be interesting to see September NPD, how that turns out. My opinion, I think Microsoft is going to edge out with in September's NPD, simply because they're both the same price point, but you get a little bit more value. And even those who don't have a 4K TV, it's at least something you might use later on. It's not like you're paying anything extra for it. So I could still see 1080p TV owners going for the Xbox One S, because they may one day might get a 4K TV. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years from now, they already have the console to take advantage of it. But anyway, that's my opinion on that. Next up, Forza Horizon 3. 91 Metacritic score at this point, I think. Amazing. Congratulations. I think that's Microsoft's or Xbox's first 90 Metacritic score since 2011. I was like, holy shit, that's like 5 years it couldn't get a 90 rated game. I'm gonna call it out. I say it every time when PlayStation gets a 90 plus, and I'm gonna say it when Xbox gets a 90 plus. Metacritic matters. It may not matter to the individual. If you're listening, you may be like, I don't care about Metacritic. I'm gonna buy what I want. And I'm not denying that. But in the industry, it matters, okay? Here are the facts about Metacritic, all right? When you have an independent developer who tries to pitch a game for a publisher to make, whether it's Activision, Ubisoft, EA, even Sony, even Microsoft, okay? They have to hand over, besides the pitch of the game, they also have to hand over like a resume type. And within that resume, they have to provide their Metacritic average. The industry big publishers wants to see a developer's Metacritic average. They want to see the games they made, what their Metacritic scores, and what their Metacritic average is as a developer. Okay, that's number one. Number two, many publishers have policies. I know one policy for Microsoft, and they talked about this during 360. You know, when the 360 arcade was huge. It's still huge. It's still big, but any game that doesn't maintain a 65 Metacritic average, they remove it from the arcade. You understand what I'm saying? That was a policy. I don't know if they have that policy now. They haven't talked about it. I mean, this is something was years, but that was a policy Microsoft released. Activision, when they deal with independent developers that don't belong to them, they have like this little board. They get these little group of developers, their own personal developers that they own, and they look at this independent project, and they kind of, based on what they're known and based on what the independent developers trying to pitch to them, they make an assessment of whether this game might achieve an 85 or higher Metacritic average. If the panel doesn't think the game is going to be 85 or higher, the publisher doesn't sign off on it. You understand? The independent developer is going to have to go somewhere else. Okay. Another thing, Ubisoft done a study. They hired an independent, company to do a study on scores in relating to sales, and Ubisoft concluded that high scores, games with higher scores tend to sell better as compared to games with lower scores. So in Ubisoft's opinion, Metacritic scores matter because games with higher Metacritic scores sell better as compared to games with lower Metacritic scores. And then finally, many developers have came out on Twitter said that they've gotten bonuses from publishers for having games reach an 85 Metacritic score and maintain it. So besides the deal and whatever money that these developers and publishers go through, when a game reaches 85, many publishers give them bonuses for getting that score. So the fact is, Metacritic counts. So Forza Horizon 3 getting a 90 plus is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It could potentially to higher sales, and it makes the console look better. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. On the flip side, low Metacritic score, it is what it is. It's a gift and a curse. But scores matter. And Forza Horizon 3 getting a 90 plus score is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? People will see that game different as compared to Forza Horizon 2. They're going to look at Forza Horizon 3 different than Forza Horizon 6. Score is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So Metacritic counts. And congratulations on the developers of Forza Horizon 3 for creating that fantastic game. Now, me personally, I said this time again, I give two craps about racers. It's not my genre, but it is what it is. Okay, as in terms of that. All right. I think some people are viewing. Let me take a look. Oh, I got HP North. Hey, thank you very much for joining. Scourge. Hey, Xbox Rules. Hey, welcome aboard. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. Anyway, so we talked a little bit about NPD. We talked a little bit about Metascore. Good job, Forza Horizon. I got to give a shout out to Rise of Vine. I'm loving the DLC. After this podcast, I'm gonna be playing the hell out of it. I'm loving it. Oh man, it's a great time for gaming. It's just great. It's a great period for gaming and stuff. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. All right, this is what we all been waiting for. Okay, how can Sony compete in the face of Scorpio? How can Pro withstand the might of Scorpio? What advantages, if Sony does have advantages, if there's any advantages, what are they? So I'm about to give you my opinion on some of the advantages of what Sony has. Now, my views is just based on looking in the past, because that's what we could do. You know what I'm saying? You learn from the past to help predict the future. Okay? This is not, what I'm not talking about is not what will happen. I'm not trying to say this is what's going to happen. This is just points and opinions of a possibility and stuff like that. And none of it's like fantastical or like some off-the-wall amazing magic stuff. It's pretty basic, it's pretty simple, but just some things people have to look about, okay? So the first point I want to bring up on how Sony could be competitive is actually something that's not even within Sony's control. I mean, Sony kind of set the stage for something, okay? But here's the first thing, is price, okay? By Sony releasing a $399 console, they already started the price war, all right? The price war has already begun, whether Microsoft wants to admit it or not, all right? Sony released a console at $399, right, which gives them the ability to drop the price next year when Scorpio releases at $350, right? So this is the position Microsoft's in with Scorpio. It's Microsoft, and now I know on Twitter I made some crazy comments and stuff like that because of power, but on my podcast I keep it legit. You know what I'm saying? Because this is my voice, this is my face. This is This is me actually talking and stuff like that, instead of, doing little character Twitters and stuff, okay? So Microsoft is trying to push 4K, native 4K in their console, but they're allowing third-party developers to use the power how they see fit. So some third-party developers may forego native 4K and maybe do checkerboarding 4K or upscaling 4K because they want the power for something else. Maybe they don't want to push native 4K at medium settings and they want to push checkerboard 4K, but you get ultra high settings. You understand what I'm saying? So Microsoft is not forcing third-party developer to the native 4K standard. They're allowing developers to take advantage of the power the way they want. But Microsoft themselves, they want native 4K. There's even a couple of articles saying that, hey, it's going to be first-party native 4K. So Microsoft wants the hardware to push native 4K. All right? To make my next point, I want you to look at the PS4 real quick. At no point did Sony promise native 4K. At no point, right? Yet there's still a little bit of backlash that the PlayStation Pro is not powerful enough to consistently do native 4K, right? And this is with Sony not promising native 4K at all. They're not trying. They never mentioned that they're creating this beast for native 4K. They just said that, hey, we're going to create a more powerful PlayStation to improve the experience, a more powerful PS4, right? To satisfy those who want more power. So now imagine Microsoft, who is touting since June, power, native 4K, 6 teraflops, okay? So what Microsoft put themselves in a position is they can't undercut power to make the console competitively priced. They no longer are in that position. They have to deliver a powerful console. They have to deliver a console that provides native 4K where the consumer, the gamers, and everybody who's been hearing all this talk pushes the native 4K agenda, which means Microsoft, the price is not to their advantage now. Now they have to put more focus on power than price. So that means if it takes this console to be $600, retail to push native 4K, then that's what you're going to get. Microsoft is not going to go, well, a $600 console is not successful. We'll go $500 and we'll just cut back on some power. They're not in that position. They can't cut back power for price. They can't. You know what I'm saying? Because look at what Sony's going through, and they never promised native 4K. So imagine if you promise native 4K and you make cutbacks because of price. You know how much, the thrashing Microsoft will get? You know what I'm saying? They put themselves in a position where they don't want to go, you know what I'm saying, to get thrashed for not delivering the power that they want. You know what I'm saying? They have to. They have to. They're all in. They already bet their chips. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? If that means you're going to get a $600 console, then it's going to be $600 console. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is where Sony's advantage comes in. Imagine a $600 console versus a $350 console. Granted, it is more powerful, and it's going to have a 4K Blu-ray player. But let me tell you something about console gamers. A majority of console gamers talk a lot of crap about, oh, yeah, I'm all about the power until you break out the price. You understand what I'm saying? And that's when it's time to put your money where your mouth is, that's when you separate the hardcore from the casuals. You understand what I'm saying? That's when you separate them, okay? That's when you separate the hardcore from the casual, all right? And at that point, some people won't mind a $350 Pro because it's affordable. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me tell you the difference between, I know some people are going to bring up, well, this generation, Xbox One and PS4 is all about the power. People went with the power. Understand, when Xbox One and the PS4 launched, it was at the same time, right? And two, it was the Xbox One that was more expensive. The PS4 was $399. It was $400. It wasn't a $600 console. It was more affordable compared to the Xbox One. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. People were not buying PS4s at $600 because of power. Because I think if the PS4 would have launched at $600, more people probably would have bought the Xbox One. I mean, hell, look at July NPD. The Xbox One vanilla outsold the PS4 because it was $250 versus a $350 console. Victor Rodriguez, welcome aboard. Appreciate it. Yo, Alejandro Lopez, thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. Thank you for spending time. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, Price is a huge factor. Price when it comes to console has always been. Understand this, majority of console owners are just basic console owners. You know, sure, they like their games, they like to whatever, but affordability has always been one of console strengths. I think that's what really separates a console from a PC is affordability and simplicity. So to me, one big reason, price is at the advantage. If the Xbox, even at $500, a $350 console versus $500, a lot of people will be like, you know what? I think I'll get the $350. You know what I'm saying? That $350 is more within my budget. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about that. So I think price is at an advantage. I don't think you're going to get the Scorpio Beast at $399. I know some people say, well, you don't know the price of the hardware. The new GPU might be cheaper. And people are talking about Zen and all this stuff. I don't think you're going to get a 6T flop console at $399. I just don't see that. I think minimum is $500. And $500 versus a $350, you're talking about $150 difference. $600 versus $350, that's a $250 difference. Holy shit. Technically, look at this. Picture this. If Scorpio comes out, right, at $600 for the price of a Scorpio, right? And let's say if Sony drops the price to $350. For the price of a Scorpio, you can buy a PS4 Pro, right? And a $250, let's say if it's on sale, a $250 Xbox One S. You can get two consoles and play everything for the price of one Scorpio. I want you to think about that. If you let's say only rocking an Xbox One, right? If you're only rocking a PS4 and you're waiting for this upgrade, you know, you're waiting for the Scorpio, and then all of a sudden it announces at $600. You're thinking, man, for $600, I could get an Xbox One S, which has HDR, Blu-ray, and upscale 4K. But on the flip side, you can buy a Pro, which has, you know, superior graphics, and you can play PlayStation exclusives. So you can get everything. Granted, you won't get the Scorpio power, but you get so much more in terms of gaming. You understand what I'm saying? So the price of one Scorpio, you could potentially be, whatchamacallit, an Xbox One S, which means you still play Xbox One games, and a PlayStation Pro, which means, you know, when God of War, Spider-Man comes out, you understand what I'm saying? You can play Uncharted. You can play everything. And it's 4K for everything. That means if you get a 4K TV, upscale 4K on Xbox One S, checkerboard 4K on PS4 Pro, you got your Blu-ray player, exclusives on both platforms, you get everything. Everything. It's all in your house. All throughout. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I'm talking about, where a $600 price point is so dangerous. It's just crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So Pro has the advantage in price. Right? So that's advantage number one. Okay? What's the next advantage? Okay? And this is a big one, I think. It's the same generation. People are not thinking about that. Remember, with Scorpio coming out, there will be no Scorpio exclusives. All games must work on Xbox One S and Xbox One. Therefore, Scorpio is still part of this generation. It is not new gen. It is not next gen. It is the same gen. Okay? So now people might be thinking, wait a minute. It's the same gen, but it's the most powerful console of the gen. That means all the games, the best version of Black Ops. I mean, the best version of Call of Duty. The best version of Destiny. The best version of Mass Effect. The best version of Batman. Think of all the games that's came out this gen and will continue to come out this gen. There's only one problem. The ecosystem's already established. Think about this. Think about all the streamers. All right, let's take Call of Duty streamers. And there's crap loads of Call of Duty streamers out there. Lots of them. We all could agree to that. There are tons, there are F tons, and I'm trying not to curse, there are F tons of Call of Duty streamers out there. Which you think is more important for a Call of Duty streamer? More power or getting DLC content day one for their streams? If people could chat, go in a chat box. More power or DLC day one? Which you think is more important to a Twitch streamer? Especially if they're getting paid, they're doing money as part of their channel. Which you think is the more higher priority for them? Power? DLC. Oh, nobody think about that, did you? Nobody's thinking about that, did you? Yeah, we could talk trash on Twitter, You know what I'm saying? We could talk our little garbage on the comment box, but at the end of the day, when you log off for Twitter, when you log off for YouTube, it's about what you do in your home. It's about what you do on your console. So if you're a streamer, which is more important? You could say, oh yeah, some of you could be, nah, power is more important. Okay, fine, you got the power. But let's assume I'm a streamer. By the time you get your DLC, it's already been a month. It's old news, especially if you're the type that want to provide tips. You know, you want to be the first one to talk about maps and you want to do all this stuff. Guess what, brother? On the Scorpio, you behind the power curve. Native 4K is old news when it comes to the DLC. That DLC belongs to the PlayStation 4, current gen. It's current gen. The current gen belongs to PlayStation. Sony made all these deals already. Okay? It looks like the Mass Effect marketing rights and all that belongs to Sony. You're not getting a Scorpio custom Mass Effect console. You're not getting a custom Call of Duty console. You're not getting the marketing rights to Star Wars. Are we seeing the trend? It's still current gen, which means Sony already has and owns the pieces to the chessboard. The piece is already in place. It is owned by PlayStation. It's owned by Sony. You know, Scorpio's not going to help you get the exclusive content on Destiny. That belongs to PlayStation. Native 4K ain't going to give you exclusive content. It's not going to give you marketing rights. It's not going to give you custom consoles to these deals. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get the DLC the same day as the PlayStation consoles. You know what I'm saying? It is still current gen. It is still the same gen. Scorpio is not going to provide an exclusive experience to make people be like, oh shit, I want that exclusive experience. This is the reason why I got to get a Scorpio. Some people are just going to stay within their ecosystem. It's kind of like iPhone versus Samsung. It doesn't matter who makes the better phone. People already stuck on the ecosystem, on the content they already bought. You understand what I'm saying? So if you got these Call of Duty gamers, what are the chances of them dropping the PS4? And, you know, what are the chances of not getting the Pro for Scorpio, but everything they bought on the PlayStation, they can't transfer it to the Xbox? You understand what I'm saying? And the relationships and the friends that they already established on the PlayStation, they don't have it on the Xbox. Understand this. Some of you, many Xbox One owners, right, who own a PlayStation, they still buy the multiplats on Xbox because of community, because of the online infrastructure, for their friends, whatever reason. Despite the fact that the better versions on the PlayStation 4, they still chose Xbox One for other reasons. That's going to happen for the PlayStation 4. For this PlayStation 4. Some people, diehard Mass Effect fans, they're going to get a Mass Effect Pro bundle because it's a Mass Effect Pro bundle. Especially if it's a custom console that looks cool, they're going to go for that. You understand what I'm saying? That's just how it is. Some people have their preference, some people have their taste. You know what I'm saying? The Call of Duty bundle, I guarantee a custom Call of Duty bundle Pro, the Call of Duty fans are going to go for that. They're going to go for the COD Pro custom bundle. You know what I'm saying? Got to think about that. It is current gen. It is not next gen. It is current gen. The Scorpio's not ushering something new and stuff like that. All right? So that's something I thought about. Sony already has all these pieces. They have all these stuff that's in play. You understand what I'm saying? On whatchamacallit. They have all this stuff that's in play to market the PlayStation 4. That's all that stuff. Okay? So that's another thing I thought about that Sony has an advantage. Okay? Another thing Sony has an advantage. Hold on. My throat's getting parched. Another thing Sony has advantage is communities. All right? No fanboy, but the PlayStation for this current gen has the largest community of games. Okay? Many people are already established in terms of their friends. One major selling point to consoles is popularity. That's always been a good factor in sales. People buy what their friends have. You know what I'm saying? You got people in school, work, whatever, talking about PlayStation or this console, playing games on this, and other people who are ready to jump on, they're hearing these conversations. And they're talking to their friends, they're talking to their families. And like, man, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to join you guys and, play some Destiny, play some Call of Duty. Oh, yeah, I'm finally going to get me my console. Yeah, my wife, my husband, my father, my mom, my uncle, my brother, whoever is finally going to get me, or I finally saved up enough money and I get to play with you guys. And that's what matters for a lot of people. It's just who they're going to play with. Believe it or not, majority of console gamers are oblivious to console wars. Believe it or not. Some of them don't even realize what's going on. I have lots of friends who own Xbox and PlayStations. They have no idea. And I don't even tell them about this. You know what I'm saying? Because they might find it weird. And then, I don't want them, they might find it weird. But some of them don't realize what goes on in the world of YouTube or Twitter stuff. They're oblivious to that. Yeah, they talk shit like almost in the 90s way, but nothing like to the way where we go online, where we talk Twitter, we pull up links. They don't go to the depths of what we do in social media. They're nowhere near that level. At the end of the day, be like, oh shit, my boys got this. I'm gonna get this. We're gonna be playing some Madden. We're gonna be playing some games and stuff like that. That's all it is to them. It's an entertainment device that is owned by other people. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, the majority have PlayStations. The majority of relationships and friends globally have PlayStation. Now, of course, you got your pockets of Xbox. Xbox is a pretty big community, so you have that. But at this point, I think it's safe to say the PlayStation is outnumbering the Xbox greatly, and there's a higher concentration of that going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's another advantage that Sony has on that. Hey, Joe Sports Network, welcome aboard. I appreciate it. So you have a higher concentration of just people that own PlayStation and stuff like that. Just a higher concentration of that. Okay. So there's that point. And one more point I gotta think. Now this one is this one. I think is probably the one playbook Sony needs to go back to, but they haven't demonstrated so far. But this is the one playbook they have to go back, which I think they have an advantage. So far E3, they showed 3 new IPs. Or not new IPs, but they actually showed 3 new IPs. All right? And these are major IPs, okay? 2 of them especially. Number 1, Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is going to be a huge factor in the coming, within a year or two on PlayStation, okay? It's going to hit stride because you're going to have the movie Spider-Man Homecoming, and then obviously the movie Marvel Universe. Spider-Man on PlayStation being done by Insomniac is going to be a big deal. I think it's probably going to be one of the bigger IPs of the gen. You know what I'm saying? Unless Insomniac really punts it into the stand. You know what I'm saying? So you get something like a Spider-Man custom pro console, and then the game itself being marketed, advertised. That's going to draw a lot of people. Spider-Man is a big deal. It is a huge deal. It's probably one of the most recognizable comic book characters, especially among teenagers and young kids and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's easily marketable. You know what I'm saying? Even adults see it. You could create great trailers. I mean, we saw the trailer, the one at E3, and it just looks amazing. You know what I'm saying? You could really create a beautiful looking trailer and market the hell out of this game. It's going to be a very big deal for PlayStation. The next one is Kojima. Kojima is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So to get an exclusive game from a third-party developer, you know what I'm saying, of this support is a huge deal. And he is going all out. So we already know he has the actor from The Walking Dead. But supposedly another rumor is he have the actor, the starring actor from the show Hannibal. I don't know his name. I'll look it up. I'm not going to look it up right now. But just look up the TV show Hannibal. Hannibal Lecter, that actor, and he's a really good actor. He's supposedly on the project as well. That's Scorpio. I mean, on Scorpio, what I'm talking about. On Kojima's project, Death Stranding. So this is a huge deal. This guy's getting huge talent, and Sony cut a blank check. You know what I'm saying? So this is another huge deal for Sony in terms of new IPs, huge blockbuster exclusives, and this is what Sony needs to compete. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how Sony was able to compete
with weaker consoles against their OG Xbox, against the GameCube, pushing the PS2. And the same thing with the PS1 versus the N64, a more powerful, well-known console. They push blockbuster exclusives. You can't just have any old exclusives. You can't even have exclusives where gamers say, "Oh, this is a good game." It has to be banging. I'm talking like the type of exclusives when you see on TV, dropping like, "Yo, what the hell is that? Yo, that shit is crazy. I gotta get that game." You know what I'm saying? And that's what. So, and I think these games are just one of. I think those two games are one of those games. Another one that's been confirmed in development is The Last of Us 2, potential big blockbuster that Sony's going to need. It's you just can't have exclusives. You need to have major blockbuster killer. I'm talking just sweep the industry. Just put gamers in shock and awe. You know what I'm saying? To really get your console out there. If you could deliver those console exclusives, those big blockbuster major exclusives, right? With a competitive price, in a custom bundle, that's an advantage Sony has. You know what I'm saying? And right there, so those are my opinions. I think Sony has on over Microsoft in terms of Scorpio. Now let's look at the reality for what Scorpio. Scorpio is a beast. 6 teraflops. I mean, everybody's going to argue it can or can't do native 4K. That's going to be an argument we're going to hear for months, and I don't want to partake in that anymore. Because at this point, there's nothing more can be said. At that point, it's time to stop talking about the labor pains, and it's time to see the baby. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about labor pains no more. And that's what we've been doing. No more labor pains. Let's see the baby, and that baby's going to come out in November. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe October, September. Whenever it comes out, that's when we need to see the baby. But there's one thing we all can't deny. 6 teraflops, that's like almost a 2 teraflop advantage over the PS4. There is going to be a significant difference in power. We're going to see a significant difference in power between the Scorpio and the Pro. Okay? At what price, we don't know. But there will be a significant difference. You know what I'm saying? And I think we can all agree to that. So that's what I wanted to hit up. I know I started late. This is a quick podcast. Those are my points. Those are my views. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on the comment box. Hit me up on Twitter. We could continue this conversation. But I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I'm saying it's already 8:15 Eastern, and it's time to hop on some Destiny. It's time to game. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do with gamers. But I do appreciate you guys spending time with me. I appreciate very much. For those who are listening to this broadcast as a recorded event, whether in your car or just listening, thank you for listening. If this is your first time, welcome aboard. And that's it. To all of you, Alejandro, HP North, saying Dro, thank you for joining. Sorry about to hear about your TV. That sucks. Scourge. Hey, thank you, Five, for joining. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. You know what I'm saying? But it's time to play some video games. Scourge says play video games. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's time to play some games, dog. Listen, man, I'm not gonna keep you here for 3 hours. That's not how I roll. I can't do 3-hour podcasts on this. That's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk a little bit, maybe an hour or so. You know what I'm saying? Talk our points. If I have some guests, it might be a little longer. But if it's just me, we'll do our little thing and let's get on and let's get some games. I gotta get that Gallo horn. Goddamn. Oh, excuse my language. Don't mean to take the Lord's name in vain. But the raid, I think, opens up on Friday. So I'm behind the power curve. You know what I'm saying? So Scourge, you got to get on some game. Yo, Scourge, you got an Xbox? Yo, you better, is Forza Horizon out yet? I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Get ready. Play the demo. Get that game. Download it. Do what you got to do. It looks beautiful. It's ready. You know what I'm saying? It's time to get some games on. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, HP North, appreciate the comment. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Let me type that in right here. I have an Xbox. You might get the Pro. Hey, if you get the Pro, you know what I'm saying? Porter Rock 77. That's my gamer tag. You know what I'm saying? We can run through whatever games. Call of Duty. You have a 3DS. Oh, shit. Let me find out you're a Nintendo fanboy. Let me find out. You know what I'm saying? Let me find out you're undercover Nintendo fanboy. Let me find out. Anyway, hey, appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. Anyway, let me know what you think, please. Let me know what you think. Hit the comment box. Do you agree with my points? Is there points that I miss? You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. There could be things that I didn't realize that Sony might have an advantage and stuff like that. All right. But let me know. Anyway, you take care. Have a good night. Happy gaming. To the best community, the most passionate community on YouTube, the gamers. Thank you so much for participating, for attending my podcast. Oh, you know that sound? Listen, let no one fool you. This is my sound. This is the Inception sound. When you hear that sound, no matter what podcast you listen to, if they start using this podcast, you type in that comment, yo, hashtag 60 frames no like podcast sound. You let them know. You know what I'm saying? That's how we roll here. Thank you so much. Take care. I'm going to get on Destiny. If you have a PS4, Corner Rock 77, hop on. We're doing this. Trying to get that Iron Galleon horde. Oh, yeah. Take care. Thank you for watching.